Hello, happy Monday, November 4th. And just wanted to come to you. It's another day for me to show up in the conversation. And I call it Kim Unplugged because I have an idea of what I want to talk about. But many times that isn't what I end up talking about. So I do have an idea and I put it in my comments. And if people join live and you want to participate in the conversation, that's great. I love participating. I love interacting. But today's topic is, in fact, I discovered something new in, wait, where did it go? It was there before I went live. Maybe I can't do it after we're live. I could share my screen option, but I want to share it after. Can't do it. Anyway, I'll just tell you about it because it was a cool visual. The visual was a picture of our brain, and like with all the neurological activity, or probably not all of it, can't fit all of it on the picture, but with a lot of the neurological connectors and how our brains actually, how they know now that our brain is not solid. And it used to believe that like at a certain point in your life, pretty young too, your brain would just be solidified. Like there was no, if you were a victim of a stroke and you were doomed to no hope of repair, no hope of changing that. So they have now something that they've identified, not now, it's not real recent, but in the scope of history, it's pretty recent. It's called neuroplasticity. I'm sure many of you know of it, but it's how your brain actually can change and it can grow new pathways and it can evolve and it can not just be stuck in one place. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Hey Jody. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you like the book. Yeah, thank you. So the topic today is what fires together, wires together, and that is actually how your brain was connected. And many people don't know this until I researched it for my book, because I wondered why there was this little voice that in everyone I ever worked with, the voice said, I'm not good enough. And that had an emotional component to it, which produced all the negative feelings, which made you either flight. You have to read the book. I'm going fast through the beginning here, but you know, it's either a flight or fight message. Flight, I believe, happened first, an emotional response saying, hope they don't see, hope they don't notice I'm not good enough. Little Kimmy, our little brains that didn't have this ability to logically think things out or reason things out. We didn't have that when we were little. So we only had survival. Its messages are, you're not okay. Like that's the message we got illogically, but emotionally. And also a fight message, which is on its heels. Hey, you can't not be okay. People have to take care of you. You're a communal species. These people have to like you and take care of you. All of this is done without language or reasoning or any of the thing we have now. When our little selves felt this, it was a trigger to our survival brain that said, I better hide or I better prove to make sure. So we developed lots of skills in our lives. This is the premise of the book, The Monster Under the Bed, uncovering the lie that drives us. So today's topic is what fires and wires. And this happened, it happened in the deepest part, our oldest part of our brain we came packaged with, which is survival. Fear is a survival instinct. And we had that running. We had a few things prepackaged when we came in our little itty bitty baby. Okay. In a little itty bitty baby, we came packaged with some pre-programmed thing. Yes. Thank you. Because if you know how you were fired and wired and where that voice comes from, and what now you are going to use the logical brain that doesn't fully develop till like mid-20s. Explains a lot, doesn't it? I was totally screwed by my mid-20s because of decisions I'd made with my emotional brain. That's okay. I'm here today and I'm happy. But so Hebb's law says what fires together wires together. And that's in your neurological pathways. That's what created connections, neurological connections from thought that was connected to emotion and emotion back to thought. And all of that started when we were very, very, very young, before our logical brain could actually analyze it, figure it out, or defend your true identity. So here's the premise of everything I teach. And that is we are and were created in that little itty bitty bitty baby form. That's the physical form we looked like. But the essence, our true, true, true energy, spirit, soul did not come from our body. And it was created from a piece of, let's call it God, let's call it the universe, whatever you want to name it or label it. The characteristic of it is love. 100%. And some people go, Kim, that word is just so, I wish we had a different word, honestly. Love is this unconditional, because you breathed, because you exist in that itty bitty bitty baby, had no way ever of knowing. And as that baby grew, even as parents, we look at that baby and go, what? You could have never done anything to prove yourself or to make yourself more loved or worthy or perfect, or any less loved or worthy or perfect. Like parents, we know looking at our babies, right? The baby didn't know, and nor could it know. So what it was at the mercy of through growing up is this is how I phrased it the other day when I was writing in my journal. We were our spiritual essence, the spirit, the deepest part of us. Even scientists don't really even know why our bodies work. There's an electrical force. There's an energy at the deepest subatomic particle, the deepest quark, whatever it's called, the deepest, smallest thing. It's empty. There's no reason scientifically from many places they know why we exist, why we breathe, why we have a current running through us. My assertion is that is this energy of love that we were created from and by, and we're a piece of, and we still are. What happened is we were created from love, but we developed through fear. Because physiologically, neurologically, biologically, this body, the form that we ended up taking, okay? This is what you look at when you see Kim Fisk. But Kim Fisk is not this body, is not this form. Phew, so glad about that. So who we really are was in the deepest part of us, our true self is pure, pure, pure love, unconditional for ourselves, and we're connected to everybody else in the world, everything else that lives in this energy field, my belief. But we developed with their survival brain that wasn't aligned with our true nature. So the survival brain had played a part. It still probably plays a part, but right now it does more harm than good. In fact, I said the other day as well, our survival brain's going to end up killing us. Ironic, isn't it? So fired together and wired together is how Hebb, whoever Hebb is, scientist guy, that showed that that's how neurons connect. And that's what created our thought and also our accompanying emotions. So in my research, I was looking, okay, so I had a occupational therapist that I was working with, woman. I didn't know that was her job until I brought this subject up. And she goes, well, I know what wires things together, Kim. And that is repetition, like picking the things up, putting it down, picking things up, putting it down. That creates wiring. We're going to rewire our brain to this behavior so that you learn how to do it. Your brain changes and does it. Then I said, okay, but what fires? Like the firing and wiring, what causes the firing? So no one really could tell me that. I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked. And so you leave me up to my own interpretation based on years of experience of myself, interest, awareness of myself and working with others, and see if this fits for you. It's emotion. To the degree you have an emotional response to something, it will fire. So if you, for good or bad, like there's not a judgment here. It just says, oh, I got it. I heard it. I felt it. So we're going to fire. And then to the degree, it's probably as many times as you do the repetition of that emotion, of that situation, of the interpretation you're bringing to any situation. For example, I'm first grade. I get up to talk to my newfound friends, my new class, and I just stood up to give a report about what I did over the summer. I was excited to talk about my Disneyland trip, and I'm standing up there excited. But guess what I forgot to do at recess? Go to the bathroom. So I'm excited, and I'm telling my story, and oh crap, I just peed my pants. Hey, and after 50, it can get real too. But I'm back in first grade. So what happens? I Is it an emotional? Do I experience my little first grader person? Do I experience an emotional response to the laughter, the humiliation, the, oh my gosh, I can't, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, whatever little lie was told to me when I was little emotionally, it's going to either add to that or maybe it started this cascade. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What does matter is emotionally, my neurons fired. I had a huge firing that day. I'm making this up. I don't remember ever doing this. I don't think this is my story. I could probably think of some stuff that was equally as bad, but this one fits a lot of people. When they're little, they do something, fires emotionally, humiliation, shame. I think shame was the very first response from our survival brain at whatever age was you're not good enough. At shame feeling, hide, hope they don't find out. But now I'm in first grade standing up in front of my hopefully newfound friends, and I am a laughing stock. I am humiliated. I have shame. I want to go crawl into a rock. Okay. And maybe I had to go clean up my mess. Maybe the teacher did. Whatever happened in that situation with this little kid, I don't know, but it was not good. And here's what I do know happened in all of us. Whatever emotional, to the degree it was an emotionally charged situation, guess what? If it had just happened that one time, maybe we would have we don't use, we lose kind of thing also applies to the brain. But I sat back down in my chair. Again, this is hypothetical, but we do this all the time. When we have humiliating situations that happen, horrible, embarrassing, shame-filled experiences, what do? We replay them and we replay them and we replay them visually, emotionally, with all the senses active. So your subconscious brain does not know the difference. Like the deepest part of you that's doing this firing and wiring, it doesn't know that it didn't just happen again. I sat down, thought about it with the accompanying emotion attached to that image, me standing there peeing, looking at the puddle, looking at the kids' faces, hearing the laughter, feeling that feeling again. It's as if it happened again. So guess what I'm doing? In fact, I probably replayed that situation, so that exact event over and over and over because it was so humiliating. In fact, I work with so many people now where we'll just kind of go back and ask the subconscious or ask the deeper part of them. When did this happen? Ask. And they will remember. Sometimes they don't even have to ask their subconscious. They just remember. Why do you remember what you remember? Go back. What's your earliest memory? My experience with this question has been the majority of people, their first memory is not young. Like they don't remember back to maybe before 6, many of them, but most of them, it's always a negative memory. So the fact that you're still pulling that memory up is really evidence that it was fired and wired. Okay. So the good news is I'm here for good news today, not to just give you reasons why why you go, oh, well, that's why I'm so screwed up. I don't want to leave you hanging with that. The good news is that now that you know how your brain and how this loop was programmed when you were young, and you hopefully can get a sense of what I'm referring to when I say your true self, that's actually the real true essence of you, the pure love place. You're not going to change it with your logical brain. You're not going to go in and rewire it. It needs you need to have rewiring done emotionally as well. So we have to unwire it and rewire it to a new truth. And that new truth needs to be an emotional experience. So cerebrally, you can talk about it to yourself all the time, but most of the time, even when we approach wanting to make a change, we're still coming from the premise that we're screwed up or that there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong. You were never broken. There was never a problem. You were programmed perfectly for what you had. Okay. You only had access to so much when you're at those ages. So you were perfect and no judgment about it. But now that there's information on how to rewire it, that's the only purpose this logical brain is going to serve is to tell you, oh, okay, so what if I wanted to go back and unwire and rewire? First of all, it's not done through therapy, and this is in no means a therapeutic. I got to give myself some disclaimer here. Don't think I'm giving medical advice, psychiatric advice here. I just know that the deepest emotional places of us, the truth that we life without investigation will be a fear-based truth. And it will not be aligned with the true essence of us, which is pure, pure love. And you want to get to that place. That's my mission in life, is to actually impact people. So number one, they start understanding and recognizing, moving to an observer's place of their wiring. So be aware when you have negative emotions, they feed or come from a negative thought that's been embedded most of your life. And it's part of such a strong part of your identity. You don't even doubt it. You just say, well, but Kim, it's true. Like, I know it feels true, but it's not true. And you've just aligned with it for so long that those ruts in the road, the grooves in the road are so deep. And you're actually, some people even align with wanting to be right about how bad they are. So they don't ever like open up to see how to think of it or see it or feel it differently. When you're ready to do that, let me know. Because that's what I love to do. I love to help people shift to a completely new truth of who they are and what their purpose is and why these toxic kind of unhealthy cycles keep playing themselves out in their current reality, and they don't know why. And they end up either blaming someone else, or they blame themselves, or a mixture and combination of both. Anyway, there's your lesson on neurological firing and wiring today. Thanks for joining, or if you're watching this on playback or YouTube, subscribe. Hey, this is also going to live on YouTube. If you don't follow me on YouTube, I'm going to do stuff there too. I don't know. My commitment is just to show up in the conversation and let those who have ears to hear. So anyway, thank you. Bye.